Hi everybody, Pesach is fast approaching, and one of the most important questions we have to talk about is what Haggadah should we use for the Pesach Seder. Now, if you go onto Amazon or you go into ArtScroll or you go into Koren websites, you'll find that there are just so many different Haggadot that it actually becomes almost impossible to choose a Haggadah for yourself. So I'm just going to give you a bit of advice, a couple of ideas, just to make your Seder a bit more interesting, and a couple of Haggadot that I've used over the years. So first of all, it's well known that I buy a new Haggadah every year. The reason for it is as follows, is that last year's Seder was so inspirational that the Rasha, the wicked son that was sitting in that Haggadah, was so inspired that he's now become not a Rasha anymore, so I need a new set of 4 boys at my Seder. Anyway, that's the joke. So here's a couple of important points to make. One of the problems that we have at Seder is that everyone has their favorite Haggadah, and everyone wants to bring their particular Haggadah that they've used for all the years to the Seder. The problem is, we have the problem of what page we're on. We're on 23, now it's 46, now it's 57. So what I've always done over the last 20 years is that I've got one standard Haggadah that goes to every single person. And we've been using the family Haggadah from ArtScroll. The reason why I've used it is first of all, it's very, very easy, very user-friendly. With on the side where we are in the text, it's got a very easy Hebrew text as well as a fantastic English translation. And what is also really great is that it actually tells you what to do at each set of each part of the meal. So, for example, Urchatz, head of the household, washes their hands, and then Karpas, all the participants will get some vegetables, and then there's a little commentary, just a brief idea, which is found on the sides of the Haggadah. A really great one, and it's pretty cheap to buy them. You can go online to have a look at them and order. So if you have like 20, 30 of these for how many people you have your Seder, so everyone's on the same page, literally, that is always very helpful. Now, in terms of the Haggadah, I always try buying my Haggadah a few weeks before Pesach so I can actually learn the Haggadah. Now, that might sound very strange when we just used to sitting at the Haggadah, Seder, opening up and starting to read. But the purpose of the Seder night is a night of education for my family, and I always try to think of how am I going to educate my family and the people who are participating in my Seder. What messages do I want to give them? The Haggadah itself creates that template by saying that there are 4 sons, and each one, the wise, the wicked, the simple, and the one who does not know how to ask, and offers you a model that says there are going to be different people at your Seder. How are you going to inspire each and every one of them? There's going to be the child or the person there that really wants to engage in conversations. There's going to be another person who just wants to have the meal. Some person just do whatever I have to do, and there's always going to be that one who's just completely lost about what's even happening and has to be explained literally baby steps, step by step. And therefore I try to find Haggadot that will give me some inspiration and explanation as what to do. So I'm going to bring out a couple of Haggadot for you to have a look at and to review them, and then maybe you can use them, buy them before Pesach and use them for your Seder. So there is a magnificent work by Rabbi Yossi Ramon. It's a 2-volume guide to Pesach literally called the Pesach Haggadah and the Seder night. And it goes through all the laws related to Pesach, as well as a brilliant commentary of the Seder itself. Quite a thick book, as I mentioned before. You need to buy you buy your Haggadah before Pesach, so you got time to read through them. And for example, in his Haggadah, he has a great English translation. This also comes in Hebrew. If you got some Hebrew people, Israelis listening in and want the full on Hebrew, he goes through every stage of the Haggadah. For example, very clearly marked Urchatz. There is a description. There are pictures. There's always a riddle that needs to be and food for thought and discussions. A wonderful Haggadah. And then what he also does is he has these charts that explain to you what to do at each stage. For example, what can be used for the vegetables, dip. He gives the rulings, the different opinions, what should be used. For example, the Jerusalem Talmud says for dipping of a vegetable, once you use parsley, but Rashi brings you to use celery. The different customs, different traditions. Well worth well worth the investment and well worth reading before Pesach. The Pesach Haggadah by Rav Yosef Tzvi Rimon, an incredible rabbi scholar, lives in Israel today. I had the privilege of being with him and studying together with him in Yeshivat Har Etzion, and today he's the chief rabbi of Gush Etzion in Israel. A personal favorite of mine is, and as you've heard many times in many drashot and talks over the years, is the Haggadah that was done by taking the teachings of Rabbi Yosef Soloveitchik, famously known as the Rav. Again, it's his lectures that have been taken, the text itself, great English translation, and then there's a composite of all the different times where he's discussed Pesach over the course of, so someone's actually gone and edited it, found the discussions, and there are some very wonderful discussions, essays that you can find in this Haggadah called The Exalted Evening, the Seder Night. Completely different style to Rav Rimon, more philosophy and intellectual, but definite read at your Seder. A few years ago, ArtScroll put out this one called the Haggadah with Answers, classical commentators' responses to 200 of the classic questions at the Pesach Seder. We all get confused and think there are only 4 questions at the Seder. There are literally hundreds of questions that can be asked at the Seder. And what can be done is read through, if you take this book, the Haggadah with the Answers, and you read through them. They cover a lot of the classic questions. I'll give you a quick example over here. Why do we cover the matzot or remove the Pesach tray and pour more wine just before the reading of Ma Nishtana? So there's a rule that says that at the top the Seder plate is removed, and the question that people ask is why, and there's a nice long explanation to answer that particular question. This is what makes the Seder night such fun, is that in addition to having your own Haggadah to run through with everybody, all the participants, is that people also bring their own Haggadot with their own explanations. It just makes it so brilliant. The Hartman Institute in Jerusalem did something completely different, called this the Haggadah A Different Night. And there's actually a 2-part guide. One is the Haggadah itself, and then there's the family participation Haggadah with different activities ranging from events to things that you can do for kids, jazzing up the Haggadah, making it how to make the evening engagement, 4 questions in depth. There's pictures. There's great discussions that are happening within this Haggadah. It's actually 3 volumes they put out, and just different ways to immerse your family when it comes to the Pesach Seder. And then last year, this is one I got last year at the Maggid's Seder. Rabbi Pesach Kron is well known as a fantastic preacher known as the Maggid. He takes insights and just the most brilliant stories, modern stories from the Holocaust, from how people celebrated their Pesach, and just a great read. Some incredibly powerful stories that you can use, read, and share at your Seder. So again, which there are literally hundreds and different types of Haggadot. I make sure that at my Seder everyone has the same one, the basic ArtScroll one, so it's easy for everyone to follow. And then before Pesach, reading up, sharing, getting the ideas, and then sharing the ideas during the Seder. I hope that helps, and just click on the link before at the bottom of this video, and we'll take you to the websites where you can buy your Haggadot. Watch out for more videos, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe and hit that notification bell, because we don't want you missing out on any of this content, particularly lead up to Pesach. See you next time.